Oh, we're live? No, just kidding. I totally knew. But I was just taking in my victory lap for a second. Welcome in one and all to a special weekend edition of the Corey Sanding Show. I'm your host, yours truly, coming at you on this wonderful, lovely March afternoon here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Reacting, I guess not instant reaction, but a little bit of delayed instant reaction to the Ravens taking my advice. They must have watched the Corey Sanding Show. We all know it. Taking a huge swing and trading first round picks for the first time in franchise history this year and next to acquire edge rusher Maxx Crosby from the Las Vegas Raiders, as first reported by Adam Schefter yesterday afternoon. As you see, that is the compensation. 2 first-round picks, the 14th overall pick this year, as well as a first-round pick next year. And Crosby heads to the Ravens. After I said you need to take a swing, Eric DeCosta, your ass is on the line this offseason, and the new league year hasn't even started yet, and EDC lands a gem. As you see here, the Cowboys were the other team that was close in the race for Maxx Crosby. Looks like they weren't willing to part with the second first-round pick. Can't really necessarily say I blame them there, but they are, according to reports, very upset in Dallas that they did not acquire him after losing Micah Parsons last offseason in a trade to the Green Bay Packers. So, wow. Of course, this news breaks after a day that my fiance and I both had a 3-day weekend this week. So we started off yesterday, a little bit of outdoor activity, and we went and I played some golf. Was epically horrible at it. We'll react to that in a little while as well. Went to dinner, saw my parents, and then, got to bed at a decent time. And of course, I get a phone call while my phone's in sleep mode, and just happens to be the Ravens dropping the news of the night late at night. So we are now here. I continue to struggle to find words for it because the Ravens have never done this. I think the closest I can remember them doing is for trading up to get Kyle Bowler back in 2003. We all know how that went. Trading a second rounder to get Roquan Smith in 2021. Other than that, or was that 2022? I can't even remember now. But other than that, like Eric DeCosta had, I think, playfully mentioned on a podcast a few weeks ago, the Ravens are mostly a draft and develop team. Well, new coaching staff, entirely new regime. Steve Bisciotti made it clear that things would be a little different. Eric DeCosta in that same press conference said they would be a little bit more aggressive in free agency this year. I didn't know it would be this aggressive. 2 first-round picks. Now, I know a lot of people, there's a lot of copium going on across social media right now from fan bases such as Cincinnati, Buffalo, of course, Pittsburgh, whole 9-yard teams that wanted Maxx Crosby, that would have given anything to get Maxx Crosby until the Ravens acquired Maxx Crosby. Same thing with Derrick Henry. Now he's washed. Now he's not that effective. Now the Ravens are, they're going to regret. They could have signed Trey Hendrickson. Well, guess what? Not only is Maxx Crosby a terrific run stopper, Trey Hendrickson's not. Not only is Maxx Crosby a top 3, possibly top 2 pass rusher in the NFL, he's a cream de la crop. And he's in the smack dab middle of his prime. And his deal, believe it or not, is actually pretty team friendly over the next few years, comparative to those who just got paid after him. On an average of $29 million a year for a game-wrecking pass rusher, the first game-wrecking pass rusher the Ravens have had since Terrell Suggs. And could we possibly say since Terrell Suggs was in his prime in the early to mid 2010s? Wow. What a day. And, what does this mean for the Ravens' next moves in free agency? We'll discuss that as well. I didn't mean to get right into the content, but I don't really know what else to say right now because I'm so shocked and so astonished that Eric DeCosta finally, hate to say it, grew some balls and swung for the fences. And regardless if this is a triple or a home run, I think it's one of the two. And crazy enough, the Ravens still have plenty more they can do because the new league year hasn't even started yet. That starts on Wednesday. So we'll see. We'll get into what that could mean for Tyler Linderbaum, a Lamar Jackson extension. Looks like Lamar was onto something when he tweeted that GIF and that smiley face emoji. So what does that mean for his future? We'll see when the Ravens get that extension finalized, and also we'll get into more reactions across the league as well, across social media as well. So thank you for those who are tuning in. If they're just on your way in, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you're notified of when we drop our daily content here at The Corey Sanding Show. And be sure to give us a follow on social media at The Corey Sanding Show. You can find us on Instagram, find us on X. You can follow me at Corey Sanding on Instagram or X. And those of you that do not know, this episode is brought to you by my friends at Bioworks Knoxville. Had a little bit of a new type of experience today that we went and filmed, actually, that we'll be debuting this coming week as part of our fitness series. So got me some ozone therapy done today. Got my Retatrutide injection. I've been on Reta now for 3 weeks, and I can't tell you how great I feel. Unfortunately, my fiance just had to take our dog Dixie into the bedroom because she's not behaving, and it's unfortunate for her because we're just sitting here having a grand old time. So into the content. Ravens acquire Maxx Crosby for 2 first-round picks. I'm still astonished right now as we sit here because so my watch goes off. I've never seen. We talk about it every offseason. You know, the Ravens need to make a splash move, but I think with this new coaching regime in place, that really put the pressure on Eric DeCosta to do it. In fact, Ravens leadership met with Steve Bisciotti at his home in Jupiter, Florida yesterday, and that's where they got the deal finalized. They come out of it with a game-wrecking pass rusher, like I said, the first since Terrell Suggs in his prime, and that's been more than 10 years ago now. Not a lot of chance to get a lot of reaction because it is the weekend. It's a great day to be a Ravens fan. It is a great day to see all the fan bases quiver with fear, practically. They can say that they don't, but the copium is real. And can you really blame them? They all, Maxx Crosby was close to being a Cowboy, but I guess ultimately this works out better for him because he gets a chance now to contend for a Super Bowl. I know a lot of people say, oh, what are you talking about? The Ravens missed the playoffs last year. Yeah, they did. But a lot of that was due to injury. A lot of that was due to Zach Orr being perhaps one of the worst defensive play callers in NFL history, as the numbers would bear to suggest. And right now, it is a new day and age in Baltimore, and this reinforces the notion and the narrative that we've set in stone that they are going all in to win now with Lamar Jackson, as he's in the smack dab middle of his prime. And you now have put yourself on a clock as well for perhaps a 2 to 3 year window where you do have to go get it done. We've said it since, 2023, really? I mean, practically earlier, that the Ravens are kind of on the clock. You got to get at least one. You got to get there at least. They couldn't do it in 2023, even with Mike Macdonald manning that defense, as Mike Macdonald is now a Super Bowl champion head coach. And they've taken a step back each of the last 2 years, and it was hit rock bottom last year when they got off to a 1-5 start, and a lot of that was due to the defense and due to the inability to get off the field late in games, the inability to get pressure on guys like Josh Allen and a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, albeit heaven forbid, to get them off the field late in games, even when the offense was putting up points. Those of you remember that opening game against Buffalo, you're up 40-25. You get no pressure on Josh Allen. He just carves you up, a few lucky tip plays here and there, but when you have all day to throw, even 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is capable of looking like his MVP self, as we saw in those games in Baltimore and in Pittsburgh that ultimately cost the Ravens a spot in the postseason. And how lucky are we to have Tyler Loop this year, because he set this all in motion. Tyler Loop might go down to the Ravens Ring of Honor just for this alone. Who knows if he's the kicker, the long-term solution at kicker? He very well could not be. I don't know right now, but he's shown some promise, and he got the Ravens Maxx Crosby. He got them a new coaching regime. He got them Anthony Weaver. He got them Declan Doyle. And most importantly, he got him Jesse Minter, who's going to be calling the defense with Maxx Crosby at his disposal now, with a Kyle Hamilton, with a Roquan Smith, if he can get in shape and get back to his former self, with we haven't even gotten into this yet, probably more than likely Nnamdi Madubuike returning this fall. All-pro, one of the best nose tackles in defense in the NFL, to go with Travis Jones, to go with a young Mike Green on the other side. Who knows if they could re-sign Draymond Jones now? how much would that unlock Draymond Jones having Maxx Crosby on the other side getting double teamed, leaving him one-on-one with he was the guy getting double teamed, was still able to make a bit of an impact at the end of the season. Obviously, the Ravens couldn't scheme up a pass rush to save their life, and didn't have one-on-one beaters on the outside last year with Kyle Van Noy and Tavius Robinson, albeit he missed a good chunk of the season due to injury, but it's going to unlock him a bit as well. And who knows who else they sign? Adisa Isaac, you got some more veteran options out of the market, and of course with the draft. But we had instant reaction from guys on ESPN yesterday. Louis Riddick provided his opinion off the top, and we'll listen to what Louis had to say, and then we'll react on the other side. There's Louis Riddick on Sports Center yesterday.
Louis Riddick joins us now. Look, the Ravens, obviously, they had a need for a guy like Maxx Crosby, but how do you feel about the fit, Crosby particularly in Baltimore?
Look, I think it's exactly what they need, considering, think about who they hired here. They hired Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter brings back Anthony Weaver, who was in Baltimore for years, a guy who was a well-renowned, well-respected defensive coordinator, a guy who many people believe should be a head coach himself, and they really need to kind of get back to their identity of what they have been in their glory years, which is a defensive-driven football team, a team that's driven by both lines of scrimmage. Maxx Crosby really is a culture setter. He has been the guy who really has been the tip of the spear for the Las Vegas Raiders, for the Raiders organization, since the day he stepped foot in that facility and wore the black and silver. And now he's going to be charged with really trying to do that up front for the Baltimore Ravens, let alone, in addition to really trying to improve a pass rush and a sack percentage and a sacks per drop back types of numbers for this football team that really weren't anywhere near championship caliber. And Max, over the past 3 years, or over the past 4 years, he's had double-digit sacks every year except for one, and that was in 2024 when he didn't play a full slate of games. So you know he can produce. You know big things are going to be expected of him. And if there's two guys who you can count on to get the most out of him, it'll be Jesse Minter, the head coach, and it'll be Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator. So he's in the perfect spot, a team that has that kind of culture that he fits into perfectly. And now they can turn him loose and see if he can really make the difference that they need him to make.
Well, as far as the Raiders are concerned, Lou, obviously this is it's a renovation project. So they're looking more to the future than the immediacy. And they get two first-round draft picks in this trade, one for this year, number 14, to go along with the number one they had already, and one in 27 as well. How much value did they actually?
Yeah, I mean, of course, for the Raiders, it means they're just coming complete rebuild mode. Obviously, we all know that. Practically hasn't really been a great start to Tom Brady's term as a minority team owner. We all hear the news about how Alex Guerrero is rubbing people the wrong way. What a surprise that is, right? But, I mean, Maxx Crosby himself reacted today on his X account. This actually just dropped just a little while ago. So we're going to hear what Max has. Obviously, it was a 12-minute long statement. We're not going to play the full thing, but we're going to go ahead and see what Max had to say in regards to his upcoming time with the Ravens. Cropped courtesy of Bobby Trossett from The Vault. We'll listen and react on the other side.
It's a new day. I'm going to Baltimore, Flock Nation, everybody in the whole city of Baltimore. I got a lot to learn. Everything is going to be new to me. And I'm excited in attacking this head on like I do everything else. The fans there, I'm not going to sit here and make a bunch of grand, predictions and anything of that nature. I'm going there with one purpose, and that's to help this team get to where it needs to be and where everybody wants to go. And that's winning the Super Bowl. And I know it's going to be very difficult. I know there's no guarantees in this, but I'm going to give everything in my heart and soul to bring a championship to Baltimore. And there's no more words needed for that, man. I'm a lead by action. I'm going to be myself fully. I'm going to help the organization, help my teammates, help everyone involved get as close as we possibly can and get to the pinnacle. And that requires hard work. It's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be a roller coaster, but ultimately the goal never changes. So I'm so excited. I wait to get out to the city, meet everybody. I've had the opportunity to talk, to Eric DaCosta, Jesse Minter, a lot of the coaches over there and front office people. Obviously Steve Bisciotti, absolute, great individual, and I cannot wait to grow those relationships.
As you see there, Maxx Crosby is well aware of what the expectations are coming in. Obviously, he's not a dumb individual. Can't wait to watch his podcast more. You know, a lot of Ravens fans, we don't really love the fact that Marlon Humphrey has a podcast, because Marlon Humphrey hasn't produced at a all-pro level since... I mean, he produced in 2024, but other than that, it's been sporadic for a very long time, and a lot of that has to do with him being lined up outside rather than in the nickel. Hopefully, he can get back to that. We'll see if the Ravens are able to retain Chidobe Awuzie this offseason. That's something I would like for them to do, given the fact that he was, for the most part, their best corner last year. Nate Wiggins needs to have a bounce-back season with him not having to cover a number one option for four or more seconds every play now. I think that's going to be very, very much in the cards. This defense under Jesse Minter, we saw what he was able to get out of Odafe Owe after the Ravens got nothing out of him through 5 games. Odafe Owe finished the season with double-digit sacks if you include that playoff game, and that's without Jesse Minter having the chance to acclimate him to the system all offseason. Now he's got the chance to do that with a Maxx Crosby, and he's got a full offseason to do so. Can you imagine what this defense could be like if Eric DeCosta makes the right moves the rest of the way? Build in the trenches. He's got off to a great start. The next stop, and we'll see if it gets done in the coming days before the new league year starts on Wednesday. Fortify the trenches on offense as well. Get some backup help, some insurance at interior defensive linemen. For heaven forbid if Nnamdi Madubuike doesn't return, but it looks like he's on that path. And then you have to get some veteran guards, a veteran guard, mix it up in the draft with some guards, and get Tyler Linderbaum back under contract. Then you can focus elsewhere. But it all starts in the trenches, and Eric DeCosta is off to a fantastic start. And speaking of, I mentioned at the top of the show that this has produced a lot of copium amongst rival AFC North fan bases and rival AFC fan bases, particularly the one up in Buffalo that can never seem to get the Ravens' names out of their mouths regardless of what happens. They're convinced that this is not a needle-moving move when this absolutely is. Does this immediately turn the Ravens defense into the best in the NFL? Absolutely not, but they have a schematic upgrade bringing in Anthony Weaver and Jesse Minter. They have more talent. They have a game-wrecking pass rusher now for the first time since Terrell Suggs. I repeat, for the first time since T. Sizzle, one of the best to ever do it. Maxx Crosby could be on that path as well. And like I said, the new regime and coaching staff. Anthony Weaver is a specialist in the defensive front. Jesse Minter knows how to scheme up blitzes with his cover 4 zone package. Oh, I cannot wait. And I don't think now they're going to have to send 5 or 6 each time to create pressure. That's going to be key as well. You don't have to leave a man wide open just to try to get some pressure on the quarterback, which they still failed to do immensely last season. Oh, this is going to be... Ravens Nation, happy days are here again, particularly on the defensive side. I cannot tell you how excited I am to watch this defense get off the field on third downs. I can't tell you how excited I am to watch Maxx Crosby cause havoc where there has been no havoc for much of the last 5-6 years. The Ravens just got themselves a golden ticket. This golden ticket, though, it doesn't get you into a tour of the chocolate factory with Willy Wonka. It could get you into a Super Bowl appearance and Super Bowl championship and another Lombardi to the trophy case in Owings Mills if the Ravens just continue to execute. Execute and build from the inside out. The last few off seasons last 5-6 off seasons really have not gone that way. This is a fantastic start. And they probably won't retain Isaiah Likely. He's probably going to get paid and go elsewhere. The only hope I think they have is that his market maybe isn't what he thinks it is. And who knows? Maybe he comes back to Baltimore in a 1-year, relatively substantial pay, relatively substantial deal, and has another prove-it year. Who knows? I think that's probably Baltimore's best hope at retaining Isaiah Likely right now. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he'll probably get paid elsewhere, New England, Kansas City, heaven forbid. But overall, what does this mean, though, for other moves that need to be done? Because the Ravens, they have not been able to. There's been reports out there, and I'm firmly believe Eric DaCosta will make this move in reducing Maxx Crosby's first year cap hit from about $30 million to roughly $7 million. They have to do a restructure for that, and they also need Lamar Jackson to ink an extension. Word on the streets, I should say, is that deal is practically in place. They're just waiting to announce it, I guess, at a time that's opportune for them, which does not surprise me whatsoever. That's the way the Ravens operate. And given the last few deals that have gone down at the center position, that could be coming for Tyler Linderbaum as well. So that's something to monitor right now, and I'm actually actively trying to monitor it on X as we do this show. But according to, let's go ahead and just pull up the clip, share my screen with you all. According to Adam Schefter, the Bills and center Connor McGovern reached agreement on a 4-year, $52 million deal that includes $32 million guaranteed. He will not get to free agency. As you see, Schefty quote tweeted it. Now one of the top free agent centers is off the market at a time in which Tyler Linderbaum is expected to become the NFL's new highest paid center, which still can, and I believe still very possible to happen in Baltimore, given the fact that you see this 4 years, $52 million. That's less than what Creed Humphrey is making, and that's $18 million per year. That's after the Bears re-signed their center as well. And neither deal surpassed what Creed Humphrey is making in Kansas City. And that just gives you more hope that Tyler Linderbaum, who was suspected that he ideally wanted to remain a Raven as it was, this is the same thing that happened years ago with that whole fiasco with Deshaun Watson and the fully guaranteed contract and the Lamar trade request. Jalen Hurts signed. And then they knew, hey, listen, this fully guaranteed thing is a Cleveland anomaly. We're not going to get that. And the deal was done not even a couple days later. Was it that same day? It's been so much has happened since then that I don't quite remember. But that could get done in the coming days too. I wouldn't be surprised now to see it. Like I said, it could break any second. Knowing the Ravens and what they just did last night, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm recording a reaction video just to post to the show's social media accounts. But as you see, the last two dominoes in the center position have fallen, and who knows, maybe we still have till Wednesday to sort through it, but word on the street is from a couple of guys that are pretty well connected with the Ravens. Cole Jackson of the Ravens Collective, who has a pretty good streamline to Jeff Zaribek, who works for The Athletic, is one of the most trusted Ravens sources, seem pretty convinced that this deal is going to get done. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, I'm currently monitoring Twitter as much as I can. I hate to be looking away from the camera in certain times, but I will say this. This is perhaps the best start to an offseason the Ravens have had perhaps since 2022, and this could even top that depending on how free agency and the draft plays out, because the Ravens knocked it out of the park in the draft that year. I think this effectively takes them out of the A.J. Brown sweepstakes. I'm fine with that. In fact, one of my better friends who's a very, very long tenured Ravens fan, very long tenure. Wow, that was the worst. As I drop, and the guest lines are about to come open, you all. I'm about to drop the pinned comment in the live chat, so you all can call in and voice your opinion. Give me 60 seconds, or we'll see how great of a debate you get spurred. But just drop that in the live chat. If one of you wants to call in and have the guts, nobody has done so yet. Call in and have a little debate. Voice your opinion. Does this put the Ravens over the top? Does this make it to where the Ravens can get off the field on third down in big moments? I think it does. Now, there have been some ESPN articles rating this move a C from the Ravens' perspective, and I don't see how that's even possible, given the fact that this draft class is not the most highly touted. I'm not very upset that the Ravens traded the 14th pick for Maxx Crosby. I'm really not. And on top of that, if the Ravens have this type of season they want to have, if they get even like they're supposed to do, get to the playoffs and make a deep run, they wouldn't have a high pick the next year anyway. They'd be picking in the low to late 20s or heck, even 32 if they go and win the whole thing, which not going to jump on here and beat my chest saying that's going to happen. The new league year hasn't even started yet. But I think at the end of the day, this is something that had to be done. They made a philosophical change by getting rid of John Harbaugh and going with a whole completely new regime that brings in a mix of experience and youth and energy. And Lamar Jackson, according to The Athletic, Jeff Sarebek, has been great, involved in pretty much everything. He's been in great spirits. That's why there's no doubt at this moment that an extension is forthcoming. Who knows when it'll be announced, but word is that deal is practically in place. They're just waiting to announce it. They're working on Tyler Linderbaum now. And I think the next most important move, if you're going to re-sign one of your own guys that you had this year, I think that guy needs to be Draymond Jones, because this is going to free up Mike Green, who's a second-year player and highly athletic. This is going to free up Tavius Robinson to do more of the dirty work. It's going to free up a Draymond Jones who's already wrecked a little bit of havoc with no dominant pass rusher opposite of him. This would be the perfect complementary piece. Now, this wouldn't be Terrell Suggs and Elvis Dumerville both in their primes like the Ravens had in 2014, but this would certainly make it to where people have to look on both sides now. And then you have Nnamdi Madubuike and Travis Jones in the middle. Gotta get some depth there as well. I do agree with that. And like I said, I'm going with the assumption that Nnamdi's going to be back, but from what I'm hearing report-wise, from people who are very connected to the situation, and from what I'm seeing on social media from Nnamdi's account himself, seems like there's a pretty good shot that retirement is not in the cards. And that is huge, huge. So huge so that this move is so huge so that even just made any sense. It probably didn't. That's even got rival players in the division shaking their head in disbelief. And what do I mean by that? Jamar Chase let his opinion be known. This is courtesy of our creators PvP on Twitter. We're going to go ahead and show you this. Now, this is not PG-13. I'll say there's some choice words in here, but this was Jamar Chase's reaction, I guess, while he's playing video games to the Ravens acquiring Maxx Crosby. Take a listen. This is hilarious.
Joe just fucking texted me. Ravens traded for Maxx Crosby. No fucking shit. No fucking shit. No fucking shit, brother. I'm fucking highly pissed right now. Oh my god. Oh my god. Fucking, how the fuck do we let this nigga go to the fucking division, bro? Oh my god, bro. Why the fuck did we let this nigga go to the division, bro?
So, in case you can't tell, unlike the fan base who's taking a lot of copium right now, they know what's good. Jamar Chase knows what's good better than anybody, except for when it comes to Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Daniels. I'm just kidding. But they know what's good. And what's good is that Maxx Crosby is going to change life completely in Baltimore. And what's good is that unfortunately for Joe Burrow, he now has to deal with not only TJ Watt still in the division and Myles Garrett, who's the best pass rusher going in football right now. He's got to deal with Maxx Crosby in the division as well. Joe probably was even more unhappy than Jamar. He's just not going to say it publicly. It was funny. Willie Lutz and I tweeted out at him afterward, and it's got some traction on Twitter. Tweeted out that the Bengals still have the best quarterback in the division, the best receivers, which I gave him that. He says the best running back possibly, and the best offensive line. The best quarterback in this division is Lamar Jackson, bar none, and it's not even close. Okay, you can take last year and say, well, they didn't make the playoffs. The Bengals haven't made the playoffs in 3 seasons. If Joe Burrow's the guy that everyone needs to fear, why can't he make the postseason? Oh, well, he's hurt. Best ability is availability, and he ain't always available. Lamar was unavailable for about a month's worth of games last year. He gutted it out. He tried to fight through. Obviously, those injuries affected him, but he had a non-existent offensive line to speak of. And the defense couldn't get off the field on third down. The Ravens had the third fewest sacks last year, 30 total. Nnamdi Madubuike was their leading sack getter at 2 until late in the season, and he hadn't played since week 2. What does that say? But of course, like I said, the dosage of copium is very strong right now with this bunch. Bills fans are just as bad. Oh, heaven help me. I mean, they traded all that draft capital for a 29-year-old DJ Moore who hasn't been a number 1 receiver in a couple of years now. And I don't even mean to get contradictory and sound like a fan here, but what are we talking about? It's just logical. And like I said, the Ravens have the best quarterback in that division. It's not even close. 3-time All-Pro, should be a 3-time MVP. Not only that, he's made 4 Pro Bowls. 4, correct me if I'm wrong. He had one of the greatest seasons in NFL history, not this past season, the season before. Was completely robbed of the MVP. And not to mention that, you got Derrick Henry. And not to mention that, Derrick Henry's better than Chase Brown. Have you not seen the numbers the past 2 years? And even if Derrick Henry was still putting up 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns like he did in his last season with the Titans, he'd still be better than Chase Brown. And the offensive line, don't even get me started. That's part of the reason why Joe Burrow can't stay healthy. And they have not fixed that offensive line, and they continue to not fix that offensive line because Cincinnati is perhaps one of the worst run organizations in sports. But yet we have Cincinnati fans going on social media saying that the Bengals have the best offensive line. And like I said, I'd love to know. I tweeted right back at him. Please, in the comments, list us where you're getting that shit you're smoking right now. We got to know, man. What is it? Is it trees? Is it ice? What is it? Come on. You can't be that dumb. Fanboys, we put blinders on when it comes to being fans sometimes, but strip the fandom and put in objectivity. The Ravens have the best quarterback. They have the better offensive line. It's not a great they have a lot to improve, but they still got Ronnie Stanley. And as of right now, Tyler Linderbaum is still technically on their roster. We foresee a deal getting done soon. We'll see what happens. But overall, man, I cannot wait to see what the reaction is like this week, and I can't wait to react to that on this show. Got some more reaction here. This is from Jay Glazer. Tweets earlier about 4 hours ago. Sean Payton called me so fired up. The Raiders traded Maxx Crosby because he doesn't have to play in the division anymore. But he also added, you are an inspiration to watch and compete against. Maxx Crosby has no quit. His motor runs like no other. And we're going to find that out in Baltimore this year. And it's going to be on primetime display for people to watch because the Ravens are slated to have a ton of primetime games. Now what do? You re-sign Linderbaum and you extend Lamar. Those are the first 2 things. I think the latter is going to happen regardless, but given the market shift and what I've seen lately, I wouldn't see Linderbaum getting 23 to 24 million a year. I think a team, honestly, at this point now that the market's been set, that Creed Humphrey is still the highest paid at 18, I don't see how you do that. I really don't. And that's no disrespect to Tyler Linderbaum because I think he's fantastic, but and then you could maybe release a Justice Hill. Who knows? Maybe Rashad Bateman's traded. I don't see that they're out of the A.J. Brown sweepstakes. That's done and over with. Patriots will probably get him or the Eagles will retain him. Either way, good for him. What should the Ravens do if they wanted to add a receiver? If they wanted to get rid of a Rashad Bateman, which I'm at this point, if it's better for him mentally and for his personal happiness, I'm for it. He had a great year in 2024, but he regressed again this season, and who knows what the future holds for him. Maybe he needs a change of scenery. You let him go, you elevate Devontae Walker, and then you go sign a guy like a Mike Evans. Oh, that would be perfect. It would be a Ravens-like signing, but it would be perfect. You try to retain a Charlie Kohler so you can have another good tight end, or you get one in the draft. Who knows? Obviously, if a miracle happens and Isaiah Likely is able to stay for at least one more season, this is definitely a make it or break it year, but the Ravens have to get to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl given the capital they just get up in the next 2 years, or this is a bust. Plain and simple. Love the Ravens. I am all for this move. I was beating the desk for it last week. Like I said, you had to at least go try. Well, they didn't just try, they executed. Props to EDC for getting that done. He knows what's at stake this offseason, and I think he's going to get it done. Given this indication, the Ravens have never done this, ever. And they've had Super Bowl caliber or precipice of Super Bowl caliber rosters for 10 of the last, almost every year the last 15 years. The only bad seasons they had were typically because of injury. 2015, they came in as Super Bowl favorites. They lost everyone to season-ending injuries by like week 5 or 6. Last year, Super Bowl favorites. Bunch of injury struggles, and they just didn't execute. This is new day. This is a new day and age. This is a new day and age in Baltimore, and I don't think you can take the last regime and what happened under it, even though they still have the quarterback and they still have a lot of the key pieces, and say that's going to be the same moving forward. Roquan Smith, I don't think you're going to be able to show up to camp fat and out of shape. Just saying. Marlon Humphrey, I think you're going to be put in a position to succeed, and they probably won't take you out of that given your aging. Nate Wiggins, same thing. Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks. Oh, I cannot wait to see Malachi Starks in year 2 under Jesse Minter. And the rumor is they're still looking for a third safety. Who knows if that'll be Ardarius Washington. I doubt it'll be Alohi Gilman, and I'm okay with that given his tackling issues. But yeah, keep building in the trenches. And even if they're inclined to give Rashad Bateman another chance under this new system under Declan Doyle, I think that's fine because he's capable. He just has to be locked in and execute. And they have to obviously be able to protect Lamar because we all know Daniel Falele is not returning. Andrew Voorhees will not be in the starting lineup. I believe Emory Jones will probably elevated to the starting lineup. He showed a lot of promise in the limited reps he did get last season. Thank you, John Harbaugh. And there's no reason you don't go you sign a veteran guard and then you try to draft one. Who knows? Maybe they could trade back up into the first round this year or next. I believe one of the two will happen. Not going to say which because I don't know what the next free agency move is. And if you retain Linderbaum, that's huge. Like I said, you could save a couple million there now. Like you get Lamar's cap down about $20 million with the extension. You make the restructure that lowers Maxx Crosby's cap hit this year to $7 million rather than 30 and then 29 the year following and 29 after. Then you get Linderbaum signed, and he's around the $20-21 million range instead of being 23 to 25 because that's what the market dictates, and he gets a chance to play for a contender. Excuse me. My goodness. You've got a lot of cap to play with. That could let you re-sign a Draymond Jones who's looking for a pretty good payday. That could let you maybe retain a Cheeto Awuzie or get another effective corner to be alongside Nate Wiggins and Marlon Humphrey and whoever else they may draft or bring in once the new league year begins. But, I never thought this day would come. I really did not. The Ravens have been set in their ways for a long time, but being set in their ways, unfortunately, has not led to hardware since 2012. That was the last year they didn't have a first-round pick, actually, lo and behold. Not saying that that's going to mean it's going to happen. The same thing's going to happen this year because obviously, if history tells us in the last few years, so many comparisons we've tried to make to the past of this season, this computes adds up 2 to 2 to 4 here. 2 and 2 is added up to 5 or usually 3 because the Ravens don't quite get there and get it done. But, what do you all think? Drop some comments in there. I want to hear from you. Nobody has had the guts to call in and talk to me. I'm a skinny little white guy. I know I'm not that intimidating. But what do you all think? Does Maxx Crosby put the Ravens over the top? Is it a bad move? And Maxx Crosby did say, in that video too, that he feels like he let the Raiders down. I love a guy that thinks that way, but Maxx Crosby was the best thing that had happened to the Raiders in decades. Maxx Crosby was the only reason anyone would even tune into Raiders games, and even then it was a hard watch because they would always be down. So at least they would always be sending pressure. But obviously, this just changes the entire dynamic of the offseason for the Ravens. It does. I said that you need to try. I didn't have a lot of confidence that it would actually happen. But I don't know. And it's funny. I'm scrolling through Twitter right now. Newsweek reported 13 hours ago before the Bears made another deal, which is another indication that Linderbaum is likely not going anywhere. The Chicago Bears are expected to sign Ravens center Tyler Linderbaum to the most expensive deal at the position in NFL history. Well, they didn't. They acquired another center, actually, so that's not happening. Dan Graziano believes the Bears will sign center Tyler Linderbaum to a 4-year, $90 million deal with $60 million guaranteed. Nobody's came close to that in this offseason. And sorry, no one's going to reset the market that much right now for a Tyler Linderbaum who The next highest person is Creed Humphrey at $18 million. No deal has topped that. Tyler Linderbaum will top that as the Ravens. You give him $20 million a year. That's $2 million more than what Creed Humphrey's making, and Creed Humphrey's won a few Super Bowls. He'd know a thing or two about that. But yeah, the Patriots traded Garrett Bradbury to the Bears. The Bears officially have a new center. Obviously, none of these deals can be processed until the new league year begins. But I mean, Lamar even put on his Instagram story the Lindor and chocolate. What could that possibly mean? Lamar's been dropping subtle hints and being a Twitter troll like he knows he only can be the past few days. We knew something was meant by that yesterday, but we thought it was probably more so an extension. But the boom was the boom move of the offseason. The Ravens stole the offseason, and the offseason has practically barely started. Way to go, Eric DaCosta. That's a great start. That gives you a leg up, but you got to keep that leg up, and you can't let it crumble. Because your job's on the line this offseason, too. The Ravens fall dramatically short next year, Steve's going to look at you even more than he already has. And I think Eric DaCosta realizes that, and I think this move is indicative of that. The time is now. The Ravens have to get it done. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, and there's no excuses anymore. There's no excuses. People say that Ravens, oh yeah, you all make excuses every year for Lamar. I don't. There was no excuse for Lamar to turn the ball over twice in the first half against Buffalo. He was great in the second half, but obviously can't have that. There was no excuse for the for the turnovers he had in the AFC Championship game. Got to be more aware of your blind side. And now that you have a game-wrecking pass rusher, you have one of the best in the NFL, one of the best defensive players in the NFL. You got to get it done, man. You still got Derrick Henry, who's a workhorse. You still got Ronnie Stanley, and you could potentially re-sign Tyler Linderbaum. And then you got Zay Flowers, who's a back-to-back 1,200-yard receiver, damn near back-to-back 1,200-yard receiver. You still got Mark Andrews, who's been an all-pro. I mean, he hasn't came up big in big moments, but who knows? Maybe that'll change under this leadership. Try to retain a Charlie Kohler. Maybe you'll get lucky. Probably not. Maybe you'll get lucky with Isaiah Likely. And then you sign a veteran receiver or draft one. Obviously, I would put Stephon Diggs on that list if he wasn't going through legal troubles, but Stephon Diggs has been known to be a diva. Who knows how he would mesh over time with not getting the plethora of the opportunities, even though he did have a good season for the Patriots last year. But overall, I never thought this day would be here, and I'm just speaking from both a fan and from an analytical standpoint as well. The Ravens have not been that team, and there's a new day. There's a new sheriff in town, I should say. This can't be Eric DaCosta. I don't know. I don't recognize this guy. And we'll see what he does for the rest of the offseason. But like I said, this is something. This is seismic. This is seismic because the Ravens have never traded a first-round pick for anybody in 31 years. Not even one. And they give up 2. The next 2 years, they mortgage their next 2 years worth of first-round picks. That's if they don't trade up and get it back into the first round over the next couple of years, which I think they will. They gave that up. And I cannot believe that Eric DaCosta finally said to hell with it and said, fuck them picks. Pardon my language. He said, fuck them picks. And that's exactly what's happening right now. But before we get out of here, I want to give us a good read to my one of my favorite sponsors, BioWorks in Knoxville. Had a great ozone IV therapy session with them today. You all can go see them off of the South North Shore Drive in West Knoxville. But what is ozone therapy? And obviously I will have a video coming out soon that will detail just exactly what ozone therapy is and the benefits. That'll detail what cryotherapy is and the benefits, and that'll detail what RETA is and the benefits of that as well. So what is ozone IVs? I'll say, keep a long story short. They hydrate you, drain out a little bit of your blood, make it to where it doesn't clot, put some oxygen in it. It turns cherry red, as you see, and you will see in my video. And then they infuse that back into your body, and it completely clears your mind. It completely re-energizes you. It's something that reduces inflammation and it Also improves your circulation and your immune system. And heaven knows I've needed help with my immune system. I get sick like nobody's business, and yet I still feel like I eat healthy, and this just helps it. Book an appointment. Go in. Tell them Corey sent you. Like I said, here are the benefits to ozone therapy, health, and wellness benefits. Well, I'm not going to repeat myself again. But as you see, improved circulation, enhanced oxygen delivery. That's the thing. That's what helps the immune system too, because it helps you. It stimulates the immune system by helping the body fight off infections and diseases because it activates your immune system when that blood is reinfused back into your body. Anti-inflammatory effects, I've had a lot of caffeine today. Detoxification, pain relief if you've been in a lot of pain lately, improved circulation, skin health, anti-aging, respiratory benefits, and also the mental clarity that I've been longing for. And I can't tell you how good I feel right now. And I've had not one bit of a mind-altering substance since I was on the golf course yesterday, and that didn't really end well because of the heat, and yeah, we won't even get into that. And like I said, the golf swing definitely could use some work. I had my fiance record me only because I am well aware that my swing is not the best right now, and I'm well aware that I've got a lot to do to correct that. And I thought it would be pretty damn funny just to show you all the struggles that I'm going through right now as I try to be good at golf and I just fail epically at it. So, just here's a little peek inside of what my golf game is currently like, and it's pretty bad. I think the music was fitting. I'm sorry. You can't make fun of yourself, and you are highly insecure. Trust me, I'm working on my form. I know it's hard to look at. Trust me, it's hard to let your girl sit there and see you swing like that, but how are you going to get better if you don't get made fun of first? So any pointers, I do appreciate that as well, because I'm not going to stop playing golf. I do enjoy it, and it gives me a little athletic release that doesn't involve playing basketball, playing football, lifting weights, doing stuff I love to do, but I like to differentiate and step outside of my comfort zone, and golf has been that. So we'll see how I get towards the end of the year. But again, if you're just tuning in, please go visit our friends at BioWorks Knoxville. We're going to have a lot more content courtesy of them in the coming months. Like at the end of the weekend, we are going to have our website done. You can go tune into the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts now. And also, we'll be launching more channels, Patreon, Discord community, ways you guys can support without even being a sponsor. And we are also launching sponsorship packages for those who aren't already grandfathered in. So those of you that are just tuning in, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, comment to boost the algorithm, hit that bell notification to get notified of when we drop our daily content. And until next time, I am out.